"Oh, you're the girl with the glass eye." And I was like, "What?" Because it was just so out of left field.
Welcome to Two Girls from T-Ville, a small town podcast. And now, your hosts, Stephanie and Amanda.
Welcome back to the podcast, Two Girls from T-Ville, a small town podcast. I'm your host, Amanda.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we're coming to you on this nice Tuesday evening.
Yes.
And today's topic, we are going to be talking about rumors that we have heard about ourselves that are just crazy. And we're just going to share them with you today.
Yep, we're going to go about it. But first, what have you been doing this past week, Amanda? What you been doing?
I just got back from vacation, me and the boys. We went to Bryson City for a couple days, and we did both of the train rides. I highly recommend that. So much fun.
Ooh.
And then we went down to Georgia to see my sister-in-law, and we got
Take the
to
devil
visit
there?
we probably saw him at the aquarium.
I had to.
No.
I had to. You probably saw him at the aquarium. Speaking of aquarium, I saw your videos you posted on Facebook of that. Were my eyes deceiving me? Did they have a whale shark?
Yes, they have a whale shark, and he was massive. He and the manta ray were in there together, and just absolutely massive.
That would be crazy to see. I've seen pictures of like the Georgia aquarium that has it, and I'm just like, no way. But apparently, way. Yep. That was crazy.
He was about as big as a school bus, and to keep people moving, you stand on this little conveyor belt thing, and you just stand still on it, and it moves you through.
Kind of like the one at Myrtle Beach in the shark tunnel.
Mm-hmm. It's to keep people moving, but
Yep.
that was fun. There was a ton of people, but the dolphin show just made it worth it, and so that was a lot of fun. We did that. We found a little aquatic center that we went to with the lazy river, and good eating, just good time together. So, So what about you? I hear you're on vacation this week.
I'm on vacation right now. I have the worst setup ever in my car right now. But you know what? I'm here for it. I like recording the podcast. And so me and my family, we are camping at Myrtle Beach Travel Park right now. And yeah, we got the best setup ever. We're literally a couple hundred feet from beach access, and we're literally next door to the bathhouse, which I know we have a fifth wheel camper, or my family does. We have a fifth wheel camper. There's a shower in there, but like we don't like having to fight for it. And I'm somebody, I don't care. I don't have really a fear of public bathrooms or anything like that, whatever. So I just walk across the street and I shower and do everything over there. So it's great. So this is
good.
Yeah, this is the best spot I think we've ever had here, and it's been great. So that's what we're doing this week. Yeah, and if you'll notice, my voice is better. Yay!
Yes, it's back.
Yeah, it's back. It's not 100%. It's still pretty nasally, but yeah, no more laryngitis. So I ended up going to urgent care, and I said, "Okay, you've got to help me, please." And they did a strep test, did COVID test, all that horrible test, and everything was negative. And they said it was just viral. And basically said, "Here's your dum-dum sucker, baby. Get over it." And that was embarrassing. I was like, man, I took off work to come here because I thought I was dying or something. But no, it's just my ear hurts worse than anything. I didn't have an ear infection, but I got a lot of fluid built up behind it. But once that is finished draining, my voice will be back to normal, and we're all good. So, yeah.
Good.
But I've been doing better with that. So I'm back, baby. I'm back.
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
All right. So we talked last episode about how fast rumors get around in a small town. And you said you had a good idea for an episode because you've got some rumors you've heard about yourself. So let's jump right into it. So what are some things you've heard about yourself?
Well, I've got two right off the bat.
Okay.
That just stuck out. But, you always hear rumors about yourself growing up anyway.
Oh, yeah.
This is not the weirdest one, but, and I don't know that it's I guess you could say it is a rumor. So backstory, both my boys were C-section babies because they were big.
Yeah.
And
watermelon children.
Jacob, both of them 9 pounds 4 ounces. So yeah.
Oh, chunks. They were some chunks. And I had an 8 pound 3 ounce one C-section too. So we're C-section. We're cesarean sisters.
Yes, yes. Um, but you know personally how hard the recovery is from surgery.
Yep.
So
It's a
this
doozy.
was I'd only been home for a couple days from the hospital, recovering from the C-section. Jacob, my oldest, he was asleep. He was a newborn, and I was going to take a nap too. And I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
remember where Stephen was at. If Stephen was asleep, if he was at work, I don't know. But it was the middle of the day. I was asleep, and apparently somebody came to visit, and I never heard them because I was dead asleep. And
You gotta sleep when that baby
they
sleeps.
knocked. They knocked, and I didn't hear. And they left. Well, you know how when you're kind of in and out of sleep, and you're like, "Did I really just hear that, or did I dream it?"
Oh, yeah.
And it takes you a minute to get up, and by the time I get to the door, there's nobody there. And I thought, well, maybe I just dreamed it. Well, this was probably months later. I found out through a mutual friend that she was telling people that I'm stuck up because I wouldn't answer the door when she came to visit. I'm like, wait, what? Somehow I'm stuck up because I was asleep, recovering from
Wow.
having a baby.
Wow.
I was like,
That was left field.
what?
If any of you in this little county know Amanda, what in the world? Like, that is the funniest thing ever. Because, like, she's the opposite of stuck up. That is insane. Wow. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't come to the door. Let's flip it around and say you were stuck up. I'm going to reenact this. Okay, wait a minute. Knock, knock, knock. Wait. Knock, knock, knock. Andy, you in there? You wake up and you're like, who is that? Is that Brittany? Forget her. I ain't got time for her. And just go back to sleep. Who does that?
I know.
Like this person literally thought that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And she should. Oh, she had a lot of kids. I mean, she should know. You're tired, especially with your first.
Right.
But it's all good.
That's pretty wild. Okay, I've got one I've heard on myself, and it was funny. So we spoke a little bit about Gary Jennings in our last episode too, but this is a funny one. Actually, at 2 different places of employment, both at DSS and at the funeral home when I worked there, I had rumors going around that I was pregnant, and if you're Southern Baptist, you're unwed, and there's a rumor going around you're pregnant. Oh. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, when I was working at the funeral home one time, I was working there before DSS. Gary come up to me one day in the office. I'd been there a few years, and he come up to me and he said, "I've heard you're expecting." And I said, "What?" I said, "What?" He was dead serious. And I said, "What?" And he said, "True, Steph." Like I want you to picture me and Gary Jennings in this daytime drama, because that's what it was like. He said, "Is it true, Steph?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, I mean, I didn't think it was, you know." I said, "Gary," I said, "I don't run around."
Oh,
I said, I just got dumped. At the time, I was I said, "Just got dumped." I said, "What in the world?" He said, "Well, you never know anymore." And I was just laughing. And you never know anymore. I said, "Gary, you think I would be?" He's like, "I'm just saying. That's what I heard. That's what people are saying." I was like, "Oh my gosh." So that was wild. Well, then, okay, and I need to let people know this. I've always had kind of a pudge stomach, okay? I've always had a little kangaroo pouch, okay? I always have. Before kids, all that. I've always had that. Well, then several years later, when I was at DSS, I was in the file vault putting away some cases that had closed out or whatever, putting them away, and this woman, one of my coworkers said, she come up right beside me and whispered, she said, "Little birdie told me you were pregnant." And I said,
Lord.
I looked at her, and I was dating, but I mean, wasn't engaged, wasn't married or anything like that. And like I said, and I looked at her and I said, "Well, that little birdie needs to find something else to do because I'm not pregnant." She said, well, then she doubled down. She put her hand on my belly and said, "Are you sure?" And
No.
she did. And I looked at her and I said, "Oh, I'm dead sure, honey." I'm dead sure. And I said, that is a nachos and cheese and Taco Bell chalupa, baby. There's nothing else in there. I promise you. And her face turned as red as possible. Well, it was terrible. And I was just like, why does the whole world think I'm pregnant constantly? Like, the whole world thinks I'm constantly pregnant. And I'm like, okay. So that was weird. That was one thing. Like, the county thought I was pregnant, apparently. Because if you're hearing that from Gary Jennings and you're hearing that from a coworker at DSS, it's not just something that's just, I mean, to be fair, did I look pregnant? I mean, to be truthful, yeah, I did. So I guess that's where that's coming from. People are just like, she's pregnant. Whatever. But I'm just like, yeah, that was awkward. For years, at least 8 years of my life, people thought I was constantly pregnant. I'm like, yeah, I'm just pregnant solid for 8 years. Solid. Like, when I give birth, it's going to be to a second grader. It's not going to be a baby. Like, I don't understand, but it constantly went on, and that drove me crazy. Wow. And can you imagine the whole county must have celebrated when I got married, and 4 years later, I actually was pregnant, and I did an announcement that said, finally, the county can rest, because everyone knows now about my reproductive health, and I am carrying a human being. I mean, it was ridiculous. Man. But that's one of my rumors. What's another one of your rumors?
So this one was elementary school, and I didn't hear about it till years later.
That's a good one. I can already tell. I don't know any of these beforehand, by the way, so we're just going for it. No. Okay, tell me.
So in kindergarten, I had to wear glasses, and I had a lazy eye, so I had to wear a patch over my strong eye. So, already starting off great.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I just did not expect, and I had a lazy eye, so you just kept going.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, I know it's a thing, but I'm just picturing you like, what is it, like Tammy Slayton? Who's that one on the 1,000-Pound Sisters?
Oh, gosh. Is it Amy? Is that her name?
I think it's Amy.
It's Amy.
That's what I picture.
Because how it is.
You don't know how it is, Amy. I'm just bless her. Man, I love that show. I love that trash TV.
But it wasn't like really bad, but it was enough. Okay. I had to have glasses and a patch.
Yeah.
So
correct. Yeah.
It was. I had to wear it for a while during kindergarten, and then eventually I got to take the patch off. Well, this was like 6th, 7th grade. I was riding the bus home one evening, and a girl just randomly looks at me and says, "Oh, you're the girl with the glass eye." And I was like, "What?" Because it was just so out of left field. And I'm like, "What?" Like, yeah, you wore a patch when you were a kid, when you were real little. I was like, I can see out of both eyes. Both my eyes are real. Let's test this. I'll prove it. And apparently she's like, yeah, that's what all the kids were saying. All the kids said that you had a glass eye. I'm like, here it is 7 years later, and I'm just now finding this out. I'm like, okay, let's test it. And I started covering each eye. Hold up your fingers, and we're going to prove it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And like, they didn't believe me. And I'm just... Wow. I mean, I passed my DOT physical here not too long ago that I had to have for my CDLs. I'm good. The doctor said I had better eyesight than him. Both my eyes work, and they're both real.
Can you imagine if you just messed with them the rest of your life and wore the eye patch to school just randomly, and then had like an eyeball jawbreaker or something and said, "This is my eyeball."
I know it. But yeah, that's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard, and it was like 6, 7 years later when I heard it. That's how kids knew me from kindergarten through 5th grade. All them kids apparently assumed I had a glass eye all them years. So I was known as the girl with the glass eye.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay, another one about you. Another one about you.
Another one about me. There was some sort of rumor for a while. And I don't know exactly where I heard it from originally. I can't remember. It's been going on for a while. That apparently people think I'm some kind of progressive Christian. I mentioned that last podcast too. And I'm like, okay, what does progressive Christian mean? Hang on, let me look this up. Progressive Christian what is it? Okay, this is what Google AI is telling me. Progressive Christianity is a movement within Christianity that emphasizes values like compassion, justice, and tolerance. It's part of a larger movement called the Emerging Church that began in 2006. They're influenced by many theological streams, including evangelicalism, I can't say that word, liberal Christianity, and feminist and womanist theologies. Okay. I'm going to put this as straightforward as I can be. I'm not that. I'm not that. I'm just going to leave that be. Because I don't feel like Christianity needs progression. Like it's what it is. I don't think we need to improve our idea of God's values. So I don't the terminology of progressive Christianity makes me think that we think God's laws are a mistake. And I don't subscribe to that. And we'll just leave that where it is. I think a lot of this has come from, or a lot of that rumor may have stemmed from me having friends and colleagues from different lifestyles or belief systems that I don't myself maybe believe in, but I don't have, to me, I mean, Jesus was a friend to everybody, and I'm going to do that too. So I think that's what he has called us to do.
Exactly.
So I don't really have that, but some people, especially in a small town, like I said before, that doesn't separate church and state, especially like there's a lot of more traditional things that are pushed, even in churches in our county, that are not biblical. Like there's a lot of battle between tradition over truth in our churches in our county. And I think if anybody kind of tries to break those traditions, it can excite kind of the wrong people. So, whatever. I have friends from all kinds of belief systems and groups of people. And I make no apologies for that. But here lately, people are probably thinking that because of The Chosen. Oh, Lord, Stephanie likes The Chosen. Oh, no, she's watching that show. She's going to hell. And I'm like, okay, I mean, good grief. I watched, Jesus of Nazareth, the 1970s one that came on TV. I mean, people praise it as the most beautiful thing in the world. And I love that. Like, I love Jesus of Nazareth from the 70s. I think it's 1978. I love that. I think it's one of the best, pieces of Christian media that exist. However, Jesus met with Nicodemus in the daytime on that and not by night. You know what I'm saying? Give people credit where credit's due. Be glad that there are people out there working in Christian media that are trying to get the message of Jesus out in these platforms, because most people are not able to do that. So I praise anybody that tries, whether it's scripture for scripture, whether it's a narrative based on the Gospels that helps show other biblical truths, whatever it is. As long as it's not anything crazy, I don't care. I'm a big supporter of Christian media. So, whatever. And I think that's where people get this whole rumor of progressivism about me. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty old school. That's all you need to know. I'm pretty old school, and I make no apologies for it.
Yeah. I have to say, it was kind of hard for me at first when we started moving more towards contemporary music, because, the church I was raised in, it was very independent Baptist, and you stick to the hymns and you don't stray. And now that I'm older and, I can actually discern what's good, what's not. Because a lot of these songs, you have to look and see, is it praising God or is it praise self? And because a lot
Yeah.
of
Oh
these, they really
man.
don't mention God.
Yes.
They'll just say, I'm doing this, I'm praying, I'm praising. Who are you praising? Who are you praising? And but like the goodness
Yes.
of God is perfect because it's all about him and his goodness. And
There's there's
but then you
some
got other songs, I
let's
can't
see,
think of one
hang
right
on.
off
I
the
know
bat, but it's
there's
talking
one
about
I want to
self.
say by Lauren Daigle
And
that's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's talking about it's basically yeah, I mean basically it's I messages and me messages or I believe what you say about me, whatever.
mhm,
Which is fine.
yep.
Yes. Which is
Yeah,
good. And
you
I mean
say. Ain't that the name of
yes,
it?
he does say these things. But
Hmm.
also some of these songs nowadays, like you said before, can really give more praise to self. You don't hear a lot of songs about the blood anymore.
Yes.
There are
Yes.
songs, but you don't hear enough. And hey, I'm not slapping contemporary Christian. I
Hmm.
love the stuff. Let me get close to the mic as possible. I love it. Okay, so it has nothing
Hmm.
to do with that.
Hmm.
There's a lot of and people are about to get excited. You progressive. That's what they're saying. They're progressive. I knew it. I knew
You
she was.
progressive.
She probably uses the message as her Bible. No, honeys, we ain't getting into the message. We ain't going to go there. We ain't gonna go there. We're not
No.
theologians, so we're not gonna go there. Anyway, we're
Mhm.
just country girls from Taylorsville. So this is our thing. We're King James. Dang it, we're King James over King
King James
Jesus. No, I'm
girls.
kidding. We're not. We're not. Yeah, but also, okay, y'all get ready. This is gonna be a good episode of Bandit. I can already tell. We're going to so many places. It's gonna be great. We're getting fired up now for the Lord. But
Hmm.
no, here's what I'm saying.
We're
This is gonna
fired
upset
up.
a lot of people, but I'm gonna say it in the mic.
Yes.
What if I told you that someone could get saved under the NIV Bible just as much as they could King James Version? Oh, I feel an earthquake.
Hmm.
I feel
Yep.
There's an earthquake happening in this county of all the people running to my house with pitchforks and torches. No, I mean, hey, by it's not just Southern Baptists up
Yeah,
there in
it's not
heaven. I'm
just
sorry, we
Baptist up
don't have
there
a
in
Southern
heaven.
Baptist quarter.
No.
Okay,
No.
we don't.
No.
Our churches in heaven don't have red shag carpet. They don't. They don't have none of that up in there. You went to a church growing up that had red shag carpet or been in one. Everybody did. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things,
Yep.
and people
Yep.
probably listening to this go, man, she gets progressive, and I'm like, yeah, forget it. My ideas and beliefs in the Bible are the least progressive possible. But if someone is preaching or something, or reading out of a new international version Bible, which now has made a lot of changes that I don't agree with at all. But if someone's reading out of that Bible and they're convicted, people say, well, they won't get convicted. And I'm like, I disagree. My my
Hmm.
dad was not saved out of the King James Bible, even though that's the Bible he preaches out of. But he was not in California. He was not saved under the King James. I don't know what they were reading from, but they read from something else. But I mean, by all means, save
Wow.
some. That's what the Bible says. So whether it be through media, whether it be through somebody
Hmm.
talking, whether it be
But
through
see,
a sermon, whether it be from a version of the Bible that you don't think someone needs to be reading, there's all kinds of different ways that point to the Lord and go from there. Now, me personally, I use King James, but I'm not going to hate on anybody that doesn't necessarily.
mhm.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Salvation is so simple, but we overcomplicate it. And it's it's not
Yep.
works. It is a gift. You can't earn it. And people think,
Yep.
well, I got to get cleaned up before I can get saved. No, we'll clean you up after. It's
And if you're one
that
of the lucky
conviction.
ones that
Got to have that
that
conviction.
change in your life
And
is instant, then
yeah.
howdy doody. I'm glad for you. But for many, it is not an instant change,
Hmm.
and it's a progression that occurs over a lifetime For me, it's not been a quick
Mhm.
change. And that'll be a whole other podcast there. But yeah, people think I've got these weird progressive ideas because of the friends I have or the
Mhm.
things I watch. And I'm like, okay, I don't think, that has anything to do with it, but whatever. In this county, it's got a lot of religious things going on. There's a lot of shake up about that. Yes, that'll be a good one.
There's just an
We're talking
episode
about
like that,
rumors, and
our
all of a sudden we're just
testimonies,
like progressive
um,
Christians, and
like
all of a
where we
sudden
came from
all of a
and where
sudden
we're
we're just
at.
having church. We're having a Sunday school discussion. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah. And kind of going
Yes.
back to the music, you got to really be careful who you listen to as far as preaching. Like, there's a lot of that I just skip over. I don't. Unless you really know your Bible really well, you could be easily
Yeah, going back
swayed the
to like
wrong
songs
way.
that are kind of like me,
And
me, 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 me,
yeah,
and I want to just say, yeah, but yeah, God says, you're His, whatever, all that stuff, but He also brings judgment, and He also brings conviction of your sin. Like it's not
hmm
all flowers for you, and you're like, I'm good
yep,
because God says I'm chosen. God says I'm this. I'm like, yeah, but He also says
yep,
you screwed up. I mean, you gotta acknowledge that. And a lot of people don't make those
yeah,
acknowledgments. But even in the
yep,
redback hymnal, there are songs in there that aren't necessarily exempt from this conversation.
hmm
There's not. And
yeah,
if you ever sang one before and you're just like, huh?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Yeah. So we're not going to go there. I get people real upset. Oh,
yeah.
wait. Maybe I am progressive. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. I just challenge the tradition. The man-made tradition
No.
is what I'm not a fan of in churches today. It used to be, preachers had to wear a three-piece suit. Dang it, they had to be clean shaven.
hmm
Oh
Yeah.
man, my dad was one of the only pastor I think in Alexander County for many years that had facial hair, and Daddy had a guy write him a full-blown letter one time. Telling him how awful it was that he had facial hair
Oh.
and that's not what God wanted or whatever. And Daddy was just like, I'm not even going to respond. And I said, I wouldn't. And I said, I would love for them to go up to Jesus seated on the throne
Mm-mm.
and say,
No.
Amen. I don't like that beard. And furthermore, it's really inappropriate that you have long hair. I mean, how's that going to hold up? You know what I'm saying? Like what on earth? And now in our county, I'm really proud of a lot of our
I
folks.
know.
I'm really proud because over the years, I have noticed we have pastors with facial hair. Shoot, we got pastors with mullets now. That's another thing. I don't know about the mullet. I don't think the
Yep.
mullet is necessarily of God. I'm just if you got a mullet and you're preaching, I just can't help but think that you're leaving. I just can't help but think that you're going home and you're picking up a Coors Light because that's just what I think of. That's what I think of when I see a mullet. Mm.
I'm just still in shock and disbelief that it made a comeback. I mean, just
Truly,
about everything comes back around, but that's one thing I never thought I would ever see
truly. I mean,
again.
I see these
And
kids.
I hate it. I wish it
Oh,
would go
you know
on.
how it is
It's
prom time. Like whenever all the
I
prom
can't
pictures go up for
stand
people,
it.
I'm just like, oh, honeys, oh, no way,
Oh,
no
oh,
way. There ain't no way these girls are into that, but they are. Yeah, never thought the mullets would be coming back, but they are. Okay. Well, one more. Do you have any more rumors, personal rumors
but
that you've heard about yourself? We got off on a tangent there.
I really can't think of any.
Right.
I've heard a lot over the
Okay.
years, but
I've got
I don't
one
care, so
more,
it hadn't really stuck
and
with
it's a
me.
good one, and it has to do with religion.
So,
And I thought of it when
okay.
I said Coors Light.
Okay.
So this is gonna be good.
Okay.
This is gonna be good. It's gonna be good now. So get ready. Okay. Hang on. Turn back on my car 'cause it's
no.
hot in here.
Oh boy.
Okay. Here we go. So,
Okay.
um, You know, the last podcast I mentioned that there was a rumor going around town that I was drinking, which I'm Southern Baptist, which that is definitely a no-no for Southern Baptist. We're not going to get into that, but that's definitely a no-no. And I personally, I'm, like I said in the last podcast too, I'm not into the drinking scene. I don't drink. Well, you know, there was this rumor going around that I was basically in the closet drinker as a pastor's daughter. Going to the ABC store because someone had my exact same vehicle, same color and everything. Well, yeah, that got to going around town. Like I said, people call my parents. I mean, I'm a full-blown adult. My late 20s, whatever, even. And people were going, your daughter's drinking. She's at the ABC store. I mean, it's just so wild. It's like, okay, my parents don't even live in the county. They live in Iredell County. So, I mean, it's just, this is crazy. Anyway, I got to tell you this about that. And this is going to be hoot for y'all, so get ready. So, let me tell you the story, everybody, of the first and only time
I'm here for it.
I had a drink in my life. So here we go. Okay. And it takes place on the other side of the earth. It takes place in Jerusalem, Israel. Yes, we're flying all the way to the Holy Land, okay? It gets worse. You already think it's bad? It's going to get a lot worse. Bear with me. So there's two supposed locations of the tomb of Jesus. One is inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. You can look up pictures of it online. It's wild looking. Like, it's basically crusaders, people like that. They built churches over these holy sites. And they went by word of mouth, and what tradition holds is the site of these places. They found evidence that the place had been marked in ancient times as being the burial place of Jesus. So they built a church over it to help protect, like, the area, you know, from being looted and destroyed and things like that. So that's why you see these churches everywhere overseas marking places, is because of that. That's part of what the Crusades were even for, was to go and mark these holy places to protect them and capture them, in essence, from Islam. But in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, anyway, there's this burial chamber made of, like, marble and stuff that they put over the site of an actual tomb. Now, whether or not that's the tomb of Jesus, no one really will know. But it was marked by people long before the Crusades, and it had been venerated as the site before. So they just had to go off that. However, just on the other side of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, there is a garden tomb, and I think it's privately owned by Christians, that property, but they have evidence of a garden being there. And when you say garden, we're not talking like Alexander County, we got tomatoes and cucumbers and watermelons. It ain't that kind of garden. Gardens at the time, like, were intentional places of vegetation of different types. And usually they had presses in them, like olive presses, you know, like wine presses, things like that set up in them. And this particular garden site had an ancient olive press in it. So that made them think, okay, someone owned this property as a garden and kept it that way. Just so happened there is a tomb, a very nice tomb that would have been owned by a wealthy person. You know, and they believe that person to be Joseph of Arimathea. And that tomb is basically untouched since ancient times, whatever. And they have turned this site into a garden tomb. And me personally, I like to think that this is the site of the resurrection of Jesus. There is some evidence that you can see. There's evidence of a seal. There's, you know, everything else about the location fits the bill. So I think, and it was also venerated by ancient people. So it's hard to know which is which. That's why usually when you go to Israel, they take you to both places. Anyway, there's a reason I'm building this up like this. So we were at the garden tomb. It's a beautiful place. We had just left the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, went straight to the garden tomb. And if anything, no matter what you believe, the garden tomb really puts you back in the days of the time, because you've got this garden around you. It's beautiful. There's flowers. There's olive trees. There's all kinds of stuff just everywhere. It's beautiful. Well, one of the big things that tourists like to do at the Garden Tomb is they like to take communion there. And you set it up ahead of time. If you're going with a tour group, it's your tour guide's responsibility to set that up. They set that up. They say, hey, these are Baptists. They don't want wine. They want grape juice, whatever, non-fermented, whatever. Well, apparently, okay, I'm here. I'm all hyped up. I'm like, man, this is going to be a chance of a lifetime, man, having communion at the tomb of Jesus in my mind. I'm like, man, this is going to be beautiful, a beautiful thing, a great thing in my spiritual journey, man. This is going to be amazing. Well, little did we know that at the last second, the company that was setting up communion for us, they didn't, they switched us to a different site and they didn't switch the juice. So I'm like, praise the Lord, I love you, Jesus. Thinking all these sites, sorry for my sins, whatever. I take a sip of that mess. And the whole look on my face changes. I look over at Daddy with this face like a kid that's just ate a lemon for the first time. That was the most bitter crap I've ever tasted in my whole life. I mean, it was so bitter. I don't understand. I looked at Daddy and his eyes got big, my eyes got big, and we just nodded. We just nodded. We weren't going to be like, I can't believe you desecrated our bodies. We're not going to do anything stupid like that. I mean, we're in another country and we're not going to make a big deal about it. Some people would have made a big deal about it, but I'm just like, oh, come on. Jesus drank it. We're going to be okay. But I looked at Daddy, and afterward or whatever, I said, was that real? He said, don't talk about it. He said, yes, that was real. I said, how do people get into this? He said, it's got to be an acquired taste. He says, it was nasty. And I know that's not what it's about. I know that's not what I should be thinking about at communion, but it just took me aback. And then as we left the site, we got on the tour bus, and I was like, Daddy, did I just drink alcohol at the tomb of Jesus? He said, yes. He said, there's more to life. He said, you're gonna get over it. And I was just like, I can't. Yeah, that's literally the worst sin a Baptist could possibly commit right there. No, I know. No, I'm so sorry, Father God. Oh my gosh. Like, Daddy, no, it was so dumb. I was just like, I cannot believe this happened to me here. Like, it couldn't have been at the ABC store in Taylorsville. It had to be here. Miss said, Daddy, I'm so progressive. I know, man. So, yeah, it was wild. But, yeah, that happened to me. The first time ever had alcohol in my life. Wasn't intentional, but that was the first time ever. Yeah, that happened at the tomb of Jesus. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal, but that happened. Yep. So I guess that runs all the rumors out on that topic. Let's spin it off a little bit into some conspiracy theories. Okay, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist at all. I don't wear the tinfoil hat all the time. I have a lot of people in my life that do, but instead of knocking it, I listen to it. I think it's interesting. Like, for example, and they don't have to be all political. For example, this is a dumb one, but I gotta know if anyone else out there feels this way. So I have this weird little theory in my mind that at the gas pumps, if you put it on the fastest pump setting, like those little notches on the gas pump, if you put it on the fastest one, that you're not getting as much gas because they're banking on Americans always being in a hurry. Like, I'm not. Have you ever noticed? Like, you're just like, I'm pumping at my normal. Like, my hand is controlling the pump speed of the pump, and then I do it just a little more, and them numbers ain't moving that much faster. But yet you can hear it pumping more or less. I'm like, I have this weird theory that if you put it on any one of those settings, that they're not banking on you looking at the numbers, adjusting their speed. I know that's dumb. I know that's dumb. They're taking advantage of Americans always needing to be somewhere, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to get as much gas if I do that. That's so dumb. But I think junk like that sometimes. Do you have anything like that you think about sometimes that's dumb? Just
Um,
right.
I've been kind of interested in, and I'm not going to say I believe either way.
I get it.
The moon landing, like we went one time, but they used duct tape and cardboard, and there's no stars in the sky, and it just, how were they able to transmit the thing live, and yet we're how many miles from the moon? Would there not be a delay?
And me and Daddy were talking about this earlier today. It was just quiet. We're sitting by the pool. I'm eating an ice cream bar, and I just look over at Daddy. This is the kind of stuff me and my dad do. We're just on the same wavelength in our brain. I looked over at him. I said, Daddy, I said, what's the point of us like going to the moon and junk? I said, what was even the point of that? Without even missing a beat. He's like, I don't know. He said, I think they know something. And then we started talking about conspiracy theories a little bit in preparation for this podcast. I said, what do you think? He said, I think we did it. He said, I'm not doubting we did it. He said, but he said, here lately, there's been all these deals with NASA and SpaceX and stuff, and they're spending millions of dollars because they say, hypothetically, they can change trajectories of comets coming toward Earth, and hypothetically this. He said, who spends billions of dollars for a hypothetical reason? He said, I think they know something. I think they know something. I said, like what? He said, I don't know. He said, but no one's just going to throw away billions of dollars hypothetically. Yeah. He said, there's something that has caused a stir that they're looking at. And I said, I can agree with that. But as far as the moon landing, though, I said, Daddy, I said, what was the point of that? That's so dumb. Mm-hmm. And I said, I think it's dumb that we're... This is so stupid topic. Like, really, I think it's so dumb that we're spending billions of dollars through NASA and stuff just for them to say they found fart gas on Mars. Who cares if there's methane? And they're like, but methane comes from life. I was like, I mean, for all we know, it does. It can come from something else. And people say, like, you know what you're talking about. Tell me how a jellyfish eats and moves and it doesn't have a brain. I really don't think we know all that we think we know. I'm sorry. I don't. I just don't think. I tend to think even ancient people had knowledge that has been lost to us. How can we not figure out how they built the pyramids? Really? We can put a man on the moon, but we can't figure out how they moved blocks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think there's more. I think there's more to this stuff. And how can we get a clear picture on a moving comet? Well, clear video, but yet if someone robs the ABC store, you can't tell who it is. Have we really progressed? I doubt it. We moved backwards.
Exactly. Like they'll find a little tiny bacteria on Mars. Oh, that's life, but yet an unborn baby.
Oh man, if you smash a bald eagle egg, oh my gosh, you're going to jail for 15 years.
Oh, I could go on and on about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we ain't going to go there. Mm-hmm. Another. Mm-hmm.
I think the moon landing,
the Soviet Union.
I think the moon landing though was just to try because of the space race, and they were just trying to prove to other countries, especially Russia, that we're more advanced. Yeah.
Either way, even if it was real or not, it's still
whether it was real or not.
Like, what's the point of that?
To show them, hey,
what's the point of that? You risk these poor astronauts' lives. Yeah, I mean, it's like what Lord Farquaad. Some of you may die.
There's a high probability you will die. Yes.
I mean, it's like what on earth? Oh my gosh!
It's like the Titanic sub. There's
story
a
for another
chance that you will not come back.
By the way,
but you're going to
when that happened last year. Yeah, it's been just a year now, just barely. Oh my gosh! Yeah, because I was at the beach last year when that was happening, and I was like, yeah, man, that was wild. I mean, and this dude bought a Logitech controller off Amazon. He did. He bought a Logitech. That's what he said. And I'm just like, he's like, yeah, we're controlling it. Just their video game controller. I'm like, you special kind of idiot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're a special kind of idiot if you jump in a sub with this guy.
Wasn't even PlayStation brand.
Yeah, I
don't understand what
back
goes
to
through
space
people's
thing.
minds
Like I
with some
told
of this
Daddy
stuff.
today, I was
Like,
like, in our conversation, I said, he's talked about methane on Mars. I said, who cares? I said, if they found a full-blown human on Mars that said, hey, take me to your leader, who cares? What would that change? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would that change? I don't care. Not trying to get religious to anybody. Me personally, I don't think there is life on other planets other than life like in heaven. Like aside from that, like on other planets, like people having these full blown like civilizations and junk.
Mhm.
Even if they did, who cares? Leave them alone. If they wanted to be contacted, they would reach out, honeys. We don't need to go find them. I don't blame them. The aliens are like, peace out. We ain't stopping
They've
there.
seen
They're
what our
looking at
world
us
looks
like we're
they don't want to
Buc-ee's.
come here.
And they're like, we're not going there. They're passing Earth by like we're Buc-ee's and we're too crowded. They're like, no,
We got
thank
the
you.
cooties.
Keep driving, honey. Keep driving. But yeah, I mean, but from a religious standpoint, me personally, I know we're getting religious. We're just getting there in this episode. You're just going to have to deal with it. From Alexander County, what do you expect? So, it's who we are. Sorry. It's just who we are. But, yeah, no, sorry, but not sorry. So,
That's who we are.
right. But, like,
That's who we are.
I mean,
Not sorry.
Jesus was sent to earth.
Not sorry.
He lived on earth and ministered on earth. He resurrected from earth and he's coming back to earth. I just don't think, I mean, why would he choose to save the souls of us and not everybody? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did he have a whole separate religious journey on Pluto or something we don't know about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, it's one of them things that, but at the same time, if you came back and you showed me video evidence somehow from Mars that there's a person there working at Walmart, what is that going to change? That doesn't change anything. That doesn't change. Yeah, that doesn't change anything for me personally. Like that doesn't change my religious beliefs whatsoever. I'm like, cool. Hope he did it for them too.
No.
If he didn't, whatever. I'm glad I'm saved. You know, I'm just like, whatever. Maybe they didn't sin. Maybe they weren't that dumb. You know, I don't. Maybe they passed the test. Maybe they're the elite. You know, I don't know.
Maybe they passed the test.
Aliens, like, were you ever like afraid of aliens and stuff like growing up? I was terrified to death of aliens. Like there was always this. Okay, everybody knows what I'm talking about when I talk about the book "Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark." Oh. Yes, that book terrified me. Oh God! Yes. And the woman that had her skin melting off her face, the skeletal woman.
The lady
honey,
with the hat.
I'm getting the weebie-jeebies looking around in my car right now. I can't. So, like, in addition to checking out that book constantly, it was constantly at my house, scaring myself to death, but I couldn't put it down. I constantly was checking out a book about UFO sightings and scaring myself to death about that when I was in elementary school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, like these abduction stories, like I laid awake at night praying to Jesus, please God, don't let him come in my room and take me. I mean, I had nightmares about me waking up and there was aliens. I mean, the traditional, I can't think of the word, but the traditional, you know, expected look of the green people with the big old eyes, like just standing at the foot of my bed staring at me, going to probe me or something.
The green.
I'm like, I'm saying, what is up with the idea of aliens probing people too? Like, how gross. Like, that's the first, if I see something I've never seen before, my first thought is, I'm going to probe that.
I used to think that the moon could really see me. My mama would go, I see the moon and the moon sees me. And then I'd start crying. And we still joke about that to this day.
Ew,
when it was a full moon, she'd sing it. And then, I see the moon and the moon sees me.
Oh, man.
Running and crying.
Yeah. Yes, man, that would be a good one. Yeah,
that should be an episode. Weird things we believed as kids.
To death. And yeah, now I'm over it and now I don't care. But I'm just like, at the time, man, that blew my mind. I couldn't do that. So the moon landing thing, that's a good one. So I used to, I still think this. I think to some degree that there are powers in government. I don't know where that is or who those people are, but I think there are definitely a lot of things that confirm some biblical topics that they would never let people know. And I don't know exactly what I mean by that. And you can say all you want that, that's just something you want to believe. To a degree, I mean, yeah. But let's just say, but hypothetically, if they did ever encounter some sort of evidence, whether it be from archaeology or something like that, there's very little biblical archaeology, I can't say the word, finds from biblical archaeology that they can positively identify. There's very few. The ones that have been found are very key in proving the existence of key figures, such as Pontius Pilate, Caiaphas, people like that. Like there's archaeological finds that prove the existence of those people found in Scripture. There's not much. And like I think they've got seals from certain biblical kings, things like that.
I love that they have found like
that
chariot
stuff is cool.
pieces
Yeah,
in the
stuff
bottom
like
of the
that. I
Red
mean, I
Sea,
don't
like in
need
just
that
a
stuff to
path.
believe.
I love that.
Still pretty cool. It makes it cool for us. Yeah. Like they talk about that Noah's
just makes it
Ark, like
cool
found in
for us.
Turkey and stuff like that. I don't
It's
know if
cool for
that's
us.
real or not. But let's say it was. Let's say officials went in, they're like, for real, we can't rule out that this is what this is based on our dating, and I don't believe in radiocarbon dating necessarily. I'm a young Earth person. I don't believe the world is as old as they say it is, or if it appears to be that old. I believe God can create things with the appearance of age. I think when He made the garden, I don't think they were seeds planted in the ground. I think it was a full-grown garden that had the appearance of age. Me and my dentist recently talked about this, interestingly enough.
Yep.
It's interesting the things you talk about when you got somebody's hands messing in your mouth. Of all the topics that come up, by the way, he'll be listening to this. He'll laugh about it. But yeah, I mean, I agree with him that things could be made with the appearance of age, definitely. So yeah, I mean, so that's why I don't shake it off when people say the dinosaurs are millions of years old. I'm like, I can see where you would get that from. I'm not gonna say you're an idiot because you think that way. Because if your dating is correct, it very well could show that. Or whatever. We don't know. I wasn't there when the earth was made. I don't know. I'm just going what off I believe in Scripture and everything from there. But
well, even with proof, Jesus Himself could come back right now and do
I've
all kinds of
often
miracles, and there would
wondered,
still be people that wouldn't
like,
believe.
if I were
it's
back in that time, would I have believed, or would I have thought he was crazy?
I do
Or
too.
would I have to see it to believe it?
I have thought this
See, there's
very
things.
same thing.
Okay, Jesus went to places occupied by Gentiles. If you guys are not familiar with what that means, it means anybody that is not a Jew. I'm a Gentile. Okay, so in Bible times, I would be referred to as a Gentile. So the Gentiles believed in Jesus, and they weren't even seeing miracles being done. A lot of times in Scripture, Jesus had to perform miracles for people to believe the signs that He was the Messiah. But not everybody needs those things to believe. I mean, some people they want that to be able to believe. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anybody listening to this right now that hasn't asked for a sign from God. I mean, there's not anybody that hasn't asked for that, I'm sure. I don't care how religious you are. Everybody's asked for something to some degree. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. I mean, Gideon did. I mean, there's nothing wrong with asking for that. But some people need those signs. Other people don't, But I know we have faith not by sight. I understand that. But like I said, it's still cool. Still pretty cool. But yeah, sometimes I think that there are governments and people in high positions of power that if they did have access to to information that led to a certainty of yes, this, and yes, this, I think that would never get out. if it were discovered, I don't think that would ever get out to the general public. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they have it and they're withholding it, but if they did, they would. That's a weird conspiracy theory, I guess, that I partially subscribe to. Like, I don't know, what's some crazy ones you've heard? Like conspiracies. Not necessarily that you believe, but one of them I think is crazy. Well, one of them I think is crazy is that 9/11 was an inside job. I think that's crazy. And I don't know.
I was going to
People
say,
like, look at the videos, there's explosions before and stuff like that. I don't know if it's me not wanting to believe that that is possible, or if it's other people not wanting to believe that an attack was possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see it from both ends, but I hope to God that was not an inside job. I don't tend to think that was. I mean, at least me and Amanda anyway, we were alive and remember the day. Same for me. Weird. What school?
7th grade, English. Woodward Middle,
and
it's now Central Wilkes Middle, because that's the year before they built the new school, because I'm a Wilkes County girl.
Too. But, yeah, it was wild. I mean, you saw the events unfold like that, and, man, I remember the most eerie feeling in the world was that day when my mom picked me up from school. For the first time in my life, I did not hear any air traffic above me. They were all grounded. Like, by the time I got home. Like, you didn't hear anything. Like, the sky basically was like it was for the first time since the very early, I don't know, 1930s, 1940s. 20s, you had flight, but it wasn't like, commercial. But, like, that I will never forget that. And that's something my kid will never know. Hopefully, he'll never know that. But, yeah, that was weird. I really hope that wasn't an inside job. I don't think it was. But there are a lot of people that are very adamant about that on the internet. Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, it bothers me the people that think that Sandy Hook was planned, and it's just messed up. So, like,
think about these poor
terrible,
parents.
Tragic events, and
I think
people
about these
are
poor
just
parents. I've heard,
just make all these
I don't know if
crazy
it's true or
assumptions.
not, but I've heard that they're tearing down that school now. Yeah, and I don't know if it necessarily has to do with that tragedy or if it has to do with lack of enrollment. I don't know. But I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm on the fence. Should that school stay up or should it be torn down? Like, as far as, like, memorial purposes, I don't know. What a traumatic thing to have up, though, for these families. The school's still there. But at the same time, it almost feels wrong to tear it down. So I don't...
It's bad that, we're in a world to where you have to constantly be on edge.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in the 90s growing up,
your screen
it
door
wasn't
would
like
be
that.
shut.
Like, you could leave your door unlocked. You could,
okay to play outside.
you'd be okay to play
everywhere.
outside.
I mean, really.
Yeah, and then now
Lord.
and people can't drive. They're on their phones. Like, when I was in Atlanta, thankfully I wasn't driving. I got to be a passenger, but I was in the third row of a minivan, and I saw so many people with their phones literally up at their noses while driving in like 6 lanes of traffic. And it's like, this is why, there's so many wrecks. And I get really nervous driving on interstates because of other people. Like, I'm confident in myself, but it's the other people around me. Like, are they going to have road rage? Are they going to pull out a gun? Because even here in Alexander County, we're starting to have people with road rage and everything. They're running from the cops. They might slam into you, and you just never know. What if somebody has a gun at Walmart?
I mean,
I hate that. That's what the world has come to.
It's crazy, though, that I even have coworkers
that our kids grow up in it.
They don't remember what I call the pre-9/11 world. But they don't know that. They weren't born into a world like that. But we're at the age now where we remember the difference. And that's pretty crazy to think about. I'm like, ew. Like, I remember, like, you had more of a sense of
Yes.
safety. And people had more goodwill toward each other. Like, people weren't afraid to pull over and help a stranded motorist.
Yeah.
Or, now you have to think about everything you do.
Yes.
It's almost like the world went a little psycho after that.
Yeah. Well, like even in the 90s. Well, remember like in the 90s it was the what would Jesus do, and
Oh,
they were
yeah.
all like, you should pull over and help that person because what if that was Jesus? What if that was, what if he sent that person for you to help? Now you can't trust nobody. You might get a knife pulled on you.
Yeah,
Like I've
I
seen
mean, and
videos.
people get
People,
especially
hey, you need
sinister
help, and then
nowadays
they pull
with
out a
things
gun.
too.
Go on,
There
leave me
is a
alone. It's like,
huge mental
dude,
health
just trying to
crisis,
help.
and I mean, I,
Yeah.
I, I want to say it's
Yes.
worldwide, but I feel like it's more in America. I'm sorry, I feel like it's more in America, and it's just like, it's just this
Hmm.
strange way of thinking.
Yeah,
Like, for
I do too.
example, there was a carjacker around Idaho County or something years back that they would plant empty car seats on the side of the road, like turned over, like they had been thrown from a vehicle, and people would pull over because it would get to bothering them, and then they'd come out
Yes.
and carjack them. I'm like, who
Hmm.
does that? Who preys on a person like that? That is so unhinged.
Hmm.
People do that. That is the
Yeah.
world we're living in.
Well,
Oh, I don't. I drive right
it's
off.
like they say, don't, if you see money
I leave
taped
that
to your
$100
vehicle,
bill
don't
on there.
touch it. And,
Yeah.
and, and like, well, that's what I told the boys at the hotel we were at in Bryson City. There was $25 laying on the ground.
I
I said, don't
know.
touch it. I said, there could be something on it. I said, if somebody wants it, they'll come back and get it. And it rained overnight, and um, and they never got claimed.
Washed off
And
all
it
the
was just
crack
there.
cocaine
And
that's
I
on
said,
it.
okay, well, I'll
All the
take 20.
anthrax.
And I ended up paying for the aquarium parking with it.
You were good.
But
Well, I mean,
even,
even people like
yeah,
putting drugs and
but I'm
Halloween
good. So,
candy, that became a thing. I'm like,
but
what is wrong with people, man?
it's crazy. Mm. And when you think about it, it's like with inflation, they ain't gonna be putting their drugs that
Inflation,
they
man.
pay
Oh
for in
my
candy now. I
gosh.
mean, they might, but I don't know.
Man, this is depressing. Okay, okay, okay,
Oh
this is
gosh, that's
off
a whole
topic,
nother
but we might as
story.
well talk about it just because it's funny. Okay, we just got to talk about it. Okay, y'all, you guys know the presidential debate. Oh my good Lord. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. Y'all, think I can
Oh
safely
gosh.
say this for both Democrats and
Mm,
Republicans. We're screwed. We're done. It's done for.
yeah.
It's done for. I mean, Trump's over there
I just
going,
wanted them to
everybody,
answer the questions
Trump's
about the
over there literally
country.
going,
I
have you heard about
mean,
our armed forces? They can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I mean, how unbecoming. Like, for a former president to say that about somebody, and then Biden's over there just on cloud nine. He is
I
on
know.
Mars. He is the life they're going to find on Mars because that's where his head is. I'm just like, I mean, we've got a buffoon. We've got a buffoon that's a convicted felon versus somebody that cognitively is not there. And these are our best opponents. This is the best. They don't need to. They already know. They
What's
don't even.
weird is they're
That's
not even
true. That's a good
campaigning on
point. They
TV.
know. Everybody knows
Like,
who
you
they
don't
are at
see
this
the
point.
commercials.
I'm just like, yeah.
I saw a meme today. I saw a meme today. It said, me, I don't need no stinking grocery list. And then me at the grocery store. And it was Biden looking all
Dead
confused
serious
from the
though.
debate the other
I don't.
night.
I want somebody to help this man. Like his wife is like, well, Hunter, I guess can't help him. He's in jail. But I'm just,
Uh,
I mean, either way, there's a bunch of junk going on. They're in jail. Their kids are in jail. There's lawsuits. They're leaving classified documents in the garage. They're doing all. I mean,
it's
we
just,
are so screwed up. These are the best our country has to offer, and the whole world is looking at us, rolling their eyes.
mm, I saw
You know
another meme
what?
that said,
That would
"Are
be
we all in
good.
agreement just to write in Dolly
We just don't need
Parton's
to write
name
in Jesus.
on the
I
ballot?"
need to write in Jesus on there.
It's just, yeah. I just don't know what to think anymore. It's just after that, I'm just like, just answer the
My
question, both
TikTok
of
For
you.
You
Just answer the
page and
question.
that
I want to
feed,
know
that was
what
the
your policies
best
are.
ever.
Just
I mean, on
tell
both
me.
sides. I was laughing at the Trump ones. I was laughing at Biden. I mean, you kind of have to laugh to keep from crying about how bad of a situation our country is fixing to be in. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do, y'all.
Yeah.
Is this for real? This is for real happening.
Mm.
This is happening. And I'm like, we're on the verge of World War III. Inflation is through the roof. Can't even afford to go to the gas station and buy a pack of nabs anymore without using your credit card and running up your credit limit. Good Lord. What are we going to do? It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad. But man, the memes have been great. If anything's come off this that's good, it's the memes. I mean, inflation might get better if Trump gets in office. But what, at what cost? Is that gonna make our tensions with other countries better or worse? He claims it made it better. We don't know if it did really. But then on the flip side, if Biden gets in, are they going to see cognitive impairment of the leader of the free world as an opportunity? You know what I mean? So either way, we are so screwed. We're done for, y'all. Y'all better just kiss both your butt cheeks tonight and just praise the Lord and get right with God right now. Right now. Get right with him right now. I mean, we have to laugh about it to keep from crying, like I said.
That's right. They just changed the regulations, laws, whatever, about the draft. So like they're like apparently including women. Like including women on it. Like what about these people that don't identify as either one? You know? I've been watching comments like on videos and TikToks and stuff like that talk about this, and nobody's asking the question, and I want to ask it. These that identify as what they're not,
right,
or they identify as non-binary, you gonna offend them? But the thing is,
we ain't got enough Wegovy for everybody.
80% of America's obese. We ain't fit
state
for
plan for cutting it off. Thanks,
but.
That's a whole other thing. That's a whole other episode. But yeah, like, I don't know. Like, me and Brian were talking about it one time, and his back injury disqualifies him. And I think we're officially out of the drafting age. Oh, it used to be older at some point. Maybe worst case scenario. But I'm going to be 36 this year. So I'm like, we're officially out of it. But Brian's back injury would disqualify him anyway. I don't know for me.
I think that's
I'll tell you a quick story before we wrap this up. So, when recruiters come to the high schools every year, and when the dudes are turning 18, if they're already 18 or going to be soon, they can register or whatever there. So this recruiter told us, me and my friend Brittany, they told us that pretty soon women were going to have to register. So I don't know what I filled out, but I filled out something. Apparently they have to meet a quota. And I said, women aren't required to register. They said, that is changing. You can go ahead and do it.
Definitely.
Trust me, if I had names, they'd be in bad trouble. I mean, I've been out of high school, since 2007? I can't math. It's too late at night. I'm not feeling like mathing right now. But I've been out of high school a while, okay? And I registered. I turned 18 in October of my senior year, so I was one of the older ones because of how my birthday fell. And I registered for something. I guess it was for the draft. I don't know. But I didn't think at the time that they could take like females for the draft. But apparently if it was on a voluntary basis, they would. So my stupid butt registered apparently for selective service. And thank the Lord I wasn't ever called, because y'all, I don't know what state our country would be in if I had to defend it, because I'm telling you, I can't defend myself against anything. So I don't know, but I was doing what I was told. I don't know what they did, or if they, I don't know, but I filled out something and they took it from me. And apparently it used to be able to be pulled up on a site or something, because when I applied for college, they asked if you were registered for selective service, and I put yeah, and apparently they were able to verify something. But if I go and look it up now, it's not there. So if somebody's a recruiter or something, put that in our public feedback form. I don't know. Something happened and they were able to verify something. But I don't know. But thankfully I'm out of the drafting age. Male, female, whatever, doesn't matter now. So thank the Lord I dodged a bullet there. But I wasn't doing it to get any kind of benefit. I did it because that's what I was told, and that's what I thought I was supposed to do. Their argument was, well, the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, their men and women all have to register at 18. And I'm like, at the time, I was like, yeah, you're right. And I just filled it out. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, they could have gotten in a lot of trouble, I guess. But yeah, I don't know who. Yeah,
Wow.
if I had names. And I didn't find this out till years later. And I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say that. I know if you're male, if you're 18, you're required to register. They'll show up at your house, man. But yeah, I was freaking out. They told me that was changing, so I said, man, I don't want to get arrested. So I went ahead and did it like a dummy. Yep, your girl was apparently registered for selective service for a while, but I'm out of the loop now. So there you go. But, well, this was an interesting podcast. We went all kinds of places. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. If any of our audio is a little kind of roboty, it's because we're having to use free programs. And if you want to help us out to improve our audio quality, you can buy our merchandise at our store. You can donate to us, whatever. Help us out.
We're trying to keep it free for us. We're just doing what we can free for y'all.
We're just making the best of it.
For me. So, okay. Additional ways you can support us. Speaking of that,
yes.
You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. You can purchase things at our merch store, Small Town Merch. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can subscribe on Spotify. There's lots of ways that you don't have to put anything out there monetarily that helps get the word out and get the views and listens going. So that always helps. And I've mentioned several times, we do have a public feedback form. Guys, we want to hear from you on this. We do. Anything we mention, like in the podcast or something, put it in the general feedback thing, like I asked about several things in this podcast. You can give us your feedback there. It's totally anonymous. And we do read the feedback. We want your feedback. We want this to be listener directed. Okay? And we've gotten some topic suggestions from you guys that we're going to address. So we want more stuff like that. And some things will be serious topics. Some things will be funny topics. This one was a little more on the serious note. It was kind of half and half, today. So, I mean, we got all kinds of content. You tell us what you want to hear and we'll deliver. Okay. Yeah. So that's what that public feedback is for. If you're listening to this right now and you have something you want to tell us, please get on there. The link to that is in our Facebook bio, Instagram bio. It's at the bottom in the description section for YouTube videos, on Spotify in the description. It's everywhere. It says like to find more of us or for more Two Girls from T-Ville, and it will have a link. Go there, and everything is going to be right there for you. So,
and it's really exciting that on YouTube we already have 52 subscribers and 303 views on our very first episode. So it blows our mind because we're just doing this for fun.
Yes.
And we just thank you. We thank you for listening and enjoying. Yes. And I appreciate the messages that I've been getting. We've been changing like people sharing funny stories with me that they've been reminded of.
We've been joking.
It's been pretty
cool. When we go to the Chosen Con in Florida later in September, that when we walk in, Jonathan Rumi himself is going to go, "That's Two Girls from T-Ville," and he's going to come up and ask for our autograph. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to you guys. We've just been laughing. Yeah, we did not know that we would become famous. But yeah,
it.
thank you. Like, we're gonna go on Walmart, and if we don't get a discount or a price match, we're at that level now where we're gonna say, "Do you know who we are?" Oh my God, we've been laughing so much about it.
Gosh.
Like when we get out of a car, people are taking pictures, just being stupid, laughing. Like, you guys, if you see us in Scotty's, we want you to tag 2 girls from T-Ville and a selfie with us in the background, one of us, and just tag us and say, "We seen them." Like, we'll just laugh about it. We're laughing. But yet, for a small town, like 54 subscribers, that's a big deal for a first podcast. That's a big deal. Yeah. So we welcome that. So
yeah,
you guys, it's been great. I love this. And like I said, if you want, we'll do all kinds of topics, like I said, but we need your input. So please do that input right now. Do it. After this episode.
We love it. We love it.
Yeah, like
make us laugh.
Said,
tell us a good joke.
Yeah, like I said,
something
and we want to have segments.
Just share something
and
funny with
sections
us.
On that feedback form with segments that we're thinking about doing, like confessions and other things like that. So yeah, hit us up. But okay, you got anything else you want to say, Amanda?
All right. No, that was a lot of fun. We covered a lot, and I think we could go on all night, but we will save that for another day. But we thank y'all so much for listening,
viewers and listeners like you.
We hope to get you on the next podcast pretty soon.
Yep. Okay, we'll see you guys on the next episode. All right, see ya.